Hello, Steve with DMS. Today, I want to have your opinion on something. Okay, so at DMS right now, we're not entirely sure that we're going to use white label as a way to grow the company. So my question is, first, I want to tell you what I feel about white label and why we're not, why we're reluctant to use it, and then I want to know what you think about my opinion and what your opinion is and the pros and cons of using white label. So it's going to be a short video. I wanted to just tell you how we feel, and then you can tell us how you feel about it. So first, what is white label? What is white label? So white label is when a company a company outsources or delegate the production of a particular work to another company. So basically, you have, say, in my case, an agency uh, who will sell a service or a product to someone, to the end client, but they will not produce the actual deliverables. They will outsource that to us, right? So we'll be creating the website or the digital strategy solution for on the behalf of the agency, which will give the product to the client, right? Us, we never talk to the client. We only talk to the agency, and the agency gets paid for the work that we created in essence, and they give us a commission. So that's white label. The reason why we're reluctant to use white label to grow the company, uh, there are four reasons. The first one is from a brand perspective. From a brand perspective, is very difficult because, as you imagine, when you do white label work, your brand never gets out there, right? You're like someone in the back who's doing the work, and you never get credit for the work. In terms of credit, we don't really care because as long as the results are there, we're okay. But it becomes difficult because number one, we don't have a relationship with the client, right? So the end client doesn't know we're here. The end client cannot get angry at us. The end client cannot give us testimonials or give us referrals or give us a new project. We do not know the client, right? We cannot work with them. We cannot tell them that we did the work. So basically, it kills any possibility to establishing a relationship with the client. And in my opinion, business is all about relationship. So if you don't grow a relationship, you don't have a business. So that's the first reason that makes me think, hey, maybe we should not go that route. The second reason why I think we're reluctant to do white label is money. As you imagine, if a product is sold or service is sold at, say, $1,000, then we'll only get a portion of that amount. Okay. So what you need to realize is there are cost of production. So if, say, the agency sells their product at $1,000, right? And they turn around and they tell us, hey, we're going to give you $300 to create this solution for us, for our client. Um, what's going to happen is you barely going to make ends meet. Why? Because you have your own cost of production, time, or your employees, or whatever it is. And so if you sell something at $300, that costs you $200 to create. It's a very thin margin. And now, if there's like a little problem or a little extra service that you need to give or anything like that, then you're already in the red because you don't have budget, right? So in terms of money, it's very difficult unless you have someone who sells. If the agency is amazing at selling and amazing um, at creating great value for their client, maybe they can sell the solution at 1,500. In which case, they can give you 700. So now you're like, okay, I'm making 400 on that deal. This is cool. We can work with this. But if you don't have a great salesperson above you, it's going to be difficult to make ends meet, in my opinion, in terms of money. Um, there's another. there's something else that I didn't consider when I wrote my little outline is communication, which could be point number three. Communication, um, what usually happens is the deal in white label is the agency that sold the product to the client communicates with the client. But most of the time, it's difficult for them as well because they don't really know when you're going to work on something, what you did, why you did it. They don't know. They're really driving in the dark. So unless they have complete trust in you, complete confidence in you, they'll be worried all the time. So if it's to create a product, that's not that difficult. If it's to create a website or something like that, not very difficult because it's visual, it's okay. But when you start doing marketing and strategy and results, if they don't get the results right away, the end client, they will call the agency, hey, I need my result, I need my result, I need my result. What's going on? I need to know more. Why? What city was targeted? What keywords was targeted? And they start the client start getting into some sort of solution type of discussion with the agency. Now the agency doesn't know what's going on, so now they want to get in a solution with you, and now it becomes a big mess where you spend 5 hours to do something that should be taking 30 minutes. So communication is really difficult because if you're doing white label, if you give too much information to the agency, then they can take your work and go with it. So you tend to not be 100% transparent, which creates a communication problem. So it's like a catch-22 where it's very difficult to communicate, and all the time that you're spending communicating is killing your margin. So that's really difficult. Um, Service. Now, the service part is also difficult because now, because you have a very low margin, it's kind of like almost going to Walmart, right? Like you go to Walmart, you don't expect them to do this great service, right? You go there because it's low price. So you go there, you take the stuff yourself. They may not be the best quality. You go to the shelf, not the shelf. You go to the cash registration, and now you're swiping things yourself because it's too expensive to have people working there to serve you, right? Because they're selling low price item. So it's about the same thing when you do white label. You're working with people, you delegate because you didn't sell the product, because the agency didn't sell the product at a very high price, or because they want to keep a really cool, really great margin for themselves, they delegate at a low price. Now, what happens is if everything is smooth and we don't waste time in communication and service and different other things, and we do get the results right away, then it works for all parties because the job is done. We took a few hours to do it, and that's it. Everything works. But if there are little problems, the client wants to talk to the agency. They're wasting time here, and the agency is scared. They don't want to lose the client. They're talking to you. They're telling you a lot of things. They are panicking. Blah blah blah. So all this is a lot of time, right? Which is killing the margin. Actually, it's making you not profitable. So it's hard because of those things to give a great service because if let's say that I want to make as a business owner, let's say that I want to make $300 an hour or 150 or even 100 an hour, right? If I spend 5 hours a month on something that I make $300 on, then I'm actually killing myself. It looks good in terms of numbers, but in terms of uh, actual profits, it's terrible, right? So that's why it's difficult to create amazing service on white label because you're not getting enough budget to do what you have to do. And because you're not getting enough budget to do what you have to do, you cannot hire someone else to add to your team to deliver the work and to deliver the service. It's impossible because you're not getting paid enough. So, and then the last thing is the leverage. Let's say, and I know someone like that who has an agency, and I would say that most of their business comes from white label. So they have like a lot of business, white label. I think they got like 20 some employees. It's all white label. Now, the thing is, he actually has no leverage on the agency that provides him the work. It's basically the employee of the agency that's providing the work because now If the agency says, hey, you know what, we're not going to work with you anymore, we're going over there, boom, all of a sudden you're losing 100 accounts. Or if the agency says, oh, we're not going to be able to pay you, we need you to reduce the price, they'll have to say yes. If the agency say work this weekend, they'll have to say yes. If the agency say you cannot go on vacation, they'll have to say, okay, we won't go on vacation. Reason is they have no leverage in their business. They're a glorified employee, in my opinion, to the agency. So these are, to me, the five things that I'm considering, and I'm thinking, hey, you know what? We need to maybe stop doing white label because it may not be working for us. Because what we want to do is develop a business where we have a little bit more leverage and we control our brand. Now, there are some great things about white label, right? You don't do business development, which could be very expensive. I think that's the only thing I really can see, right? You don't do business development, right? So now I gave you my perspective. I need to hear about yours. So feel free to contact me, drop me a message, leave me a comment, just so that I can maybe see your perspective, which will make me think differently, maybe. So thank you very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Bye bye.